unemployment rate is about 3.4, and inflation is about 3.1. This is a statistic we obtained from the statistic department. Okay. Malaysia is considered a multiracial country. We have Malays, which is contribute more than 50%, and then followed by Chinese, and also Indian and others. So that is basically the main contribution on the population. The main one still the Malay. I think Malay will be our main population contributor. Then in terms of language, of course, Bahasa Malaysia, which will be the official language, then followed by English, then Chinese, Tamil, and the rest of the languages. In terms of labor force, of course, in terms of service, we were mainly on the service, because compared to maybe 20, 30 years ago, agriculture would be the main one. But right now, the Malaysia direction is more to service and industry. So in the industry segmentized by the geographical area, we have Peninsular Malaysia and we have Sabah, Sarawak. So of course, the main industry areas still in Peninsular Malaysia, mainly on electronics, semiconductor, and those are manufacturing. And in Sabah, Sarawak, mainly on logging, petroleum, and also some agriculture processing. In terms of trades, basically we still in the excess of export as compared to import. So still we are rely heavily on the export. Okay, how it's situated in the map. Okay, Malaysia basically is quite fortunate because we are surrounding by our neighborhood country, which is, we can see that I think we are covered by Indonesia, and on our top we have Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Myanmar. On the other side we have Philippines and Brunei to cover us, and of course Singapore will be our nearest, which is covering well in terms of the logistic. The location is quite good. Of course, I have to do some advertisement for our country. Basically, we are within 4-hour flight. If let's say we talk about Southeast Asia, as we can see that the longest journey within the Southeast Asia is to Philippines, and the nearest is in Singapore. Then the rest is within 1 or 2 hours flight. So that's why we are focused is, I think, since the location is strategic, and we welcome all the foreign investor. If let's say you want to have a second home in Malaysia, always welcome. Okay, in terms of Malaysia, of course, I think briefly we will touch, of course, easy access to all the neighboring countries. Then we have multicultural, multilingual, multi-ethnic, and then political and economic stability. But that political stability is getting better. We understand that. I think for the past few years, I think Malaysia political is quite unstable, but now it's getting better after change of the prime minister, and we are going to change our king also, because by rotation. So that will help the stability, and also for the foreign investor to come into our country. So in terms of infrastructure, I think basically is doing better and better in terms of infrastructure. Then of course we have a very welcome in terms of business setting up. You can set up your representative office, branch office, or you can set up a company. And it's quite easy to set up a company in Malaysia. Basically, what you need to know is get the right people to help you. I think basically you want to incorporate a company, just within a few days, you can incorporate a company already. Okay, then of course, it's a host of other amenities that make Malaysia, as I think, place for investor. And prudent, pragmatic, investor-friendly business policy. Okay, that explain Malaysian condition. Okay, let's move to Malaysia capital market. So Malaysia only have one stock exchange, which is called Bursa Malaysia, but there are three main trading platforms. So of course, those big cap company, it always will be listed in main market. Then second board will be on the ACE market, which is expected to those high growth company. Then in terms of the third board will be LEAP. LEAP will be something like OTC, which is in the Nasdaq OTC. So, but the shares is not so liquid. That is basically to be separate into the three main trading platform. So, in terms of the listed company, Malaysia is still not considered a big stock exchange. So right now, up to today, we have about 1,000 companies. So it was separated into main market, ACE market, and LEAP market. So we can see that main market will be a major contributor because I think it have been since the first day until today, they already exist in the main market. ACE market is only the past 10 years. This market is opened up for those high growth, more on technology-based company to list in the ACE market. And for LEAP market, is basically is more to open for sophisticated investor. So the trading liquidity will be very limited. It's more to like a trading platform for those companies plan to go for ACE market or main market in the future. So this is a three board currently exists in the stock exchange of Malaysia. Then of course, every year the question is how many listed company listed in Malaysia. So if we can see that, I think there is a trend that getting more and more company to be listed in Malaysia. From previous, maybe start from 2014, it's basically less than 20. And now we are hitting 30 over. But 2044, I think the expected new listing to be very close to 50. That is a target set by the stock exchange. Then, of course, in terms how much the fund raised from the market, from the IPO. Last year, I think we hit about 700 over million in terms of US dollar. Well, of course, with more and more listed company this year, they are targeting more than $1 billion. So that is the target set by our stock exchange. Okay, then we talk about IPO Malaysia. So I think that is the key topic for today. Of course, I was started with to go through the requirement. That started with just look at the brief structure. There is a two main criteria. One is quantitative, which is talk about your profit, your figures. Then qualitative is more talk about the compliance and those corporate governance issues. So that is the main area we are focusing on. And of course, we split it into LEAP market, ACE market, and main market. But of course, also we have SPAC. But Malaysia SPAC is not so popular because I think that have been inactive for the past 3 to 4 years already. So that of course I think we will go through later on. Okay, in terms of quantitative aspect, when we talk about a company, how to qualify to be a company that can go for IPO in Malaysia, I think the requirement is quite low. I think the requirement is quite low, you ask me. Of course, we started with main market. The requirement is for the past 3 to 5 years, uninterrupted profit. That means, let's say we talk about you are using 2023 as a base year to do submission. So your 2021, 2022, 2023, it cannot have a loss in a single year. So, but the 3 years you add up, it must at least 20 million ringgit Malaysia. And the latest year, you just need at least 6 million for you to qualify in terms of a quantitative requirement. That is for the main market. Of course, not only profit test, Some you can choose to go on the market capitalization. Well, for example, if a company upon listed, you can hit more than 500 million in terms of market cap, then you also can go on this route, because they give you the 3 routes for you to choose. One is profit, which is you need cumulative 3 years or 5 years, add up at least 20 million, and the latest year is 6 million, which is the profit after tax. We are looking at the profit after tax. Then the second choice, if you maybe you certain year have losses and it cannot fulfill the 3 to 5 years uninterrupted profit, then you can go on the market capitalization. But of course, that apply to the bigger cap company. Let's say the moment you listed, your market will hit $500 million ringgit Malaysia. Then you can go on a market cap test. Then the third one, if you are on infrastructure project, let's say you got a concession to build a highway, to build a water plant, water treatment plant, and again, your project value cannot be less than 500 million. So, and the concession you have at least 15 years. Then you also can apply for going for IPO, even though you are making loss. Because I think we know that for those concession company, maybe at the beginning year, you were making a loss. That is for main market. But for ACE market, straightforward. Basically, the minimum, no minimum track record. Based on the risking requirement, there is no requirement in terms of profit. But of course, unwritten rules, and in practice, all the investment banker will expect the company at least have 4 to 5 million ringgit Malaysia of profit after tax. That is mainly for the valuation purpose. And then for the lead market, the requirement is even lower. In practice, basically, we are looking at ringgit Malaysia about 1 or 2 million. So that is quite low. So that's why in terms of quantitative aspect, I think that is in nutshell, this is a summary. If you have a company that you can qualify, then always we can explore. So after that, we go to the next one, is more to quantitative. Of course, public spread, because the moment you go listed, at least 25% of your enlarged share capital, it need to be held by public, because you are going for public. And the requirement is for main market, 25% had to sell to the market. Then at least you need 1,000 public shareholder. Then for ACE market, also same. You need to have 25% out to the market. Then the remaining 75% is still owned by the owner. Then the minimum number of public shareholder is about 200. So you compare the two, main, you need 1,000 public shareholder, and ACE market, you only need 200 public shareholders. So I think this one, in terms of the public shareholder, so far there is no issue, because I think currently, in terms of the IPO in Malaysia, I think it's quite hot right now. Always the performance for the IPO is good. So there is no issue. Then we talk about the last one will be the lead market. Lead market only require you to do 10%. That means you only need to sell out 10%. The remaining 90% still hold by you. You still can go for listing. But of course, there is a changes in the public spread effective from 1st March 2021. If your market cap more than $1 billion, but less than 3 billion, the stock exchange will allow you to lower your public spread cap to the 20%. From the original 25%, then they lower to 20%. If your company, the market capitalization is more than 3 billion, then they even allow you, the public spread can be lower to 50%. So that is the requirement in terms of public spread. Then of course, Bumiputra equity requirement. That is because I think sort of the protection to the Bumiputra. Bumiputra is a Malay native that is to protect that certain percent of the private spread, it need to be held by the Bumiputra. So in terms of the main market, 50% profit spread is required to be under Bumiputra. Then in the ACE market, there is no requirement at the point of listing. But of course, if your profit is hitting main market, but you still choose to go to ACE market, then there is a requirement of 12.5%. You need to allocate it to Bumiputra investor. But of course, Bumiputra investor, they also need to pay. It's not saying I give you for free. They still need to subscribe and pay for the shares. So there is no free share. So just that I think the allocation had to go for them to do the subscription. Then in terms of lead market, there is no requirement in terms of the Bumiputra quota to be allocated. Okay, so then of course the next point is talk about sponsorship. When you go for main market, there is no sponsor required. Sponsor, the role for sponsor is to basically to coach the company and to handhold them to comply with the listing requirement. So for main market, normally those companies quite matured. Normally they will not need you to have a sponsor. Then for ACE market, of course, is considered high growth company. Then they will expect the company to maintain 3 full year of the sponsor. So normally for Malaysia situation is, okay, we engage investment banker to do the IPO submission. So normally that investment banker will become the sponsor. So they will take care of the company for the 3 years. Then for lead market, you no need to have sponsor, but you need to have approved advisor. The difference between ACE market and lead market in sponsor probably will cost you more. Lead market, it will cost you lesser because it's just an approved advisor. And the range of the fees is quite low also. Okay, then of course, I think when you want to go for listed, one of the qualitative criteria is you must have a core business. Those companies, if you just hold investment, then you cannot qualify to be a listed company. That means you must have a core business. For example, you are manufacturing, or you are doing construction, property developer, you must have a core business. So that's why that is a requirement for the company to go for listing. Then the next one, we need to have management continuity. Because I think if this rules is not kicks in, then a lot of company can go for listing. Because for example, maybe the investor just buy over a business, then they straight away can go for listing. So which is in the Malaysia context, the stock exchange require that it need to have a 3 full financial year that the same management running the company. So that to ensure the sustainability. Then, of course, I think the next requirement is a financial position and liquidity. The stock exchange is very particular, especially they need sufficient working capital for the next 12 months. So, for example, with submitting the prospectus, then the reporting accountant need to issue a letter to confirm that the company working capital can last for the 12 months. So they need that to be in place because they also don't want to have a situation once the company listed, then facing the liquidity issue. Okay, so of course, I think for main market, we cannot have accumulated loss. They really cannot see you to have an accumulated loss because they expect you to be a mature company and a profitable, and only can go for the main market, except for those infrastructure company that you go on with the infrastructure route or the market cap route. Then for the ACE market, also same. You need to have a working capital, sufficient working capital for the 12 months from the date of prospectus. Lead market, okay, you don't have this requirement because they know that company is still consider small medium entity, but they are qualified for listing just on the lead market. Okay, then next one, moratorium. Okay, once you are listed, those promoter cannot sell the share for the first 6 months. If let's say you're in the main market. So, but of course, after 6 months, then you can do a sell off of your share. The rules is getting stringent on ACE market because I think the whole spirit for ACE market is for those growing company. So that's why the requirement is first 6 months, you cannot sell, but after 6 months, then you can sell until you still keep the 45%. And the 45%, you need only can further sell down on a staggered basis over 3 years. So basically, 15%, 1/5 for the every year. So until you fully sell down, but which is I think stock exchange is not encourage you to after you listed then you sell out and you hit and run. I think they don't like that lah. So that's why they come up with this rule. Lead market also same. Is even longer. 100% of your share you cannot sell within 12 months. Then subsequently after 12 months, then only you can start sell your shares. Then of course I think the next one is also more to qualitative, the transaction with related party. The stock exchange is very particular when you have related party because I think they do not want a situation that that is manipulating in terms of the profits that for you to qualify. For example, you have a lot of related party transaction that can easily help you to achieve the profit required by the stock exchange. So that's why they are very particular, especially when you have related party transaction. But of course, it will not stop you to have related party transaction. But what they need is the condition and the term of the related party transaction. It must be not favorable to the company, and also it will not create a situation that the profit you achieve is contributedly by the related party. So that is a requirement set up by the stock exchange. Of course, I think additional requirement for those oil and gas company, then you must have another requirement on the main market only, because oil and gas company mainly you can go for main market because I think their size will be quite big. Then the requirement is 18 months. From the original 12 months, they increase more, additional 6 months. Okay, so in terms of type of investor, we can see that main market is basically open for public. So main and ACE, there's no difference. Basically, all the retail investor, you can subscribe for the share and you can trade on the share. But lead market is only for sophisticated investor. How to qualify as sophisticated investor? Okay, we talk about individual. Individual is the condition or the criteria to be a sophisticated investor is annual income about I think 300,000 ringgit Malaysia, and you have a net asset of 1 million, so you can qualify as sophisticated investor. Then for corporation, so basically they just need to have a net asset of 10 million in order to qualify as a sophisticated investor. So that's why the current challenge in Malaysian market is a lot of investors, they do not want to declare. They just keep silence, and that's why lead market is facing a lot of challenge, especially getting investor. So more and more people, they do not want to put in their money in the lead market, because the moment you want to put in money in the lead market, you have to declare. So Malaysia is quite a unique country. So a lot of people still do not report their tax correctly. So that's why that is the reason when you talk about sophisticated investor, then there is some challenge there lah. So, but of course, looking at the situation, I think they will start looking at how to reduce the requirement for the sophisticated investor. Then the next part is, of course, the place of incorporation. Of course, foreign company is always welcome to list in Malaysia. There is a few company already listed in Malaysia and doing okay. I think they are doing okay because I think what the requirement is, you just need to have a Malaysia incorporation list code. And I think for the past few years, I think those Chinese company, they also come to Malaysia to have their IPO. And the structure they adopt is they are using Cayman Islands company or BVI company as the holding company. It's just that they need to have a lot of translation in terms of the law requirement when you do the submission. Okay, so other than that, I think basically it's quite free and open for foreign entity to come to have a IPO in Malaysia. Then, of course, you have to register a foreign company under the Malaysia Company Act. Then, of course, the accounting standard is quite internationalization. We just use IFRS. If your book is auditing, that means you audit or you record in IFRS, then it's always welcome because Malaysia is already full conversion to IFRS, so there is no gap between Malaysian financial reporting standard and IFRS. It's the same. Then in terms of auditing standard, it's the same. We are using international standard auditing. Then of course, in terms of the document, in Malaysia, basically all the legal document will be in English. So if those, let's say company in Vietnam or company in probably in China, if they have a different document in different language, then they need to translate into English for the submission purpose. Of course, I think in terms of valuation asset, we're also using the same international valuation standard, so there is no gap. Of course, currency denomination. Okay, for submission in Malaysia, all the figures must be translated into Ringgit Malaysia. So for example, when your book kept in maybe say Indonesia, you will keep in Indonesia rupiah. So when you do the submission in Malaysia, in terms of preparation of submission document, all have to translate it into Ringgit Malaysia. So that is the requirement in Malaysia. Then of course, I think for foreign company, you can act as the directors in the list code, but the requirement is must have at least 2 independent director that is resident in Malaysia. So that is the requirement for Malaysia listing. Okay, then next one, we go to spec. Spec mainly on main market. There is no spec in A's, there is no spec in lead market. So the requirement is you need the fundraise must be at least Ringgit Malaysia 150 million. Then of course you must fulfill the management team credibility, management team ownership. That is the requirement for spec. Then of course you need to moratorium. So it had to be moratorium until you complete the acquisition of the qualifying asset. So that is a requirement. Then of course, all the proceeds, it must be placed in the trust account until you complete the qualifying acquisition. But of course, for spec, you have a time frame. There is 36 months, which is 3 years from the listing date. So that's spelled out the requirement in Malaysia listing condition. Of course, I think you will ask, okay, how long? This table, basically we are extracted from our stock exchange. If we talk about main market, in terms of pre-submission, basically you need about 12 to 16 weeks, which is about 4 months from the day you appoint advisor, you do the structuring, due diligence, and prepare the document. So basically that talk about 3 to 4 months. Then when you submit to the authority or stock exchange, it will take about 12 weeks. Of course, if you are large cap capital, that means your company with a market cap maybe say more than 500 million, then will be speed up the process. Then post approval, then you need to continue with updating your prospectus, then also take another 8 to 12 weeks. So until listed, probably the whole process will take you about 8 to 9 months, if provided everything comply, everything follow the rules, there's no hiccup along the way. That is the expected timeline. But of course, for lead market will be more faster, because I think that not so much on the raising public front, because normally what they do is more to direct listing. That means they don't raise fund, they raise fund before they go for submission. So for that is the difference between lead market and main and ace market. So in broad picture, this is also extracted from the stock exchange. So they are looking at T plus 28 week. But honestly speaking, based on so many IPO we have done, this timeline is too optimistic. I don't think that will happen. So the faster we do, also need about 48 week, if not mistaken. The faster we did one IPO is 48 weeks. From the day you start, is about 48 weeks. So conservatively, you put 1 year. That will be not so much of pressure to meeting the timeline. So ideally, you just put 1 year. Okay, that is on the timing. Okay, then how much you can raise? Okay, just put an example. Because for IPO, is always talk about valuation. So Malaysia, generally, the valuation is quite straightforward. PE, based on the PE multiples, that go back to industry. So for example, healthcare, probably you can command 15 times, 20 times. IT company, 15 times, 20 times. Then they will multiply with your latest year profit. Then that is your valuation. So after you got the valuation for the company, so the minimum requirement to sell to the public is 25%. So basically, you just take the valuation of company, multiply 25%, that is the amount you can raise. So, but of course, during IPO, the 25%, it can come from two angles. One is the company issue a new share, or the existing shareholder, they can sell some of the share, offer for sale. That one is we are doing by way of offer for sale. So offer for sale, the money you receive from the selling of share will go to the shareholder. So there's two ways. One is company issue new share, then the money will come back to the company. But of course, we know that certain investors, they need to cash out, need to exit, then they will go for offer for sales. But when a successful IPO is always not encouraged to have a big portion of offer for sales, because that doesn't have a good impression that that the company, maybe after listed, then they will the shareholder will just run away. So that's why the normal situation is a lot of time we see there's just a minimum of the offer for sale. Then the rest of the company, they raise from the IPO, then they will grow the company. So from that example, we just put PE of 8, multiply the company profit after tax of 10 million, then they have a 80 million valuation. So 80 million multiplied by the minimum spread of 25%, then the company will raise 20 million. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, how much need to spend for the IPO process in Malaysia? So I have tabulated now that expenses required. Of course, for the stock exchange to process your application, For main market, minimum is 80,000 ringgit Malaysia. Then we have to see how big is the size. Then for Ace market, 30,000, Lead market, 9,000. Then the registered prospectus, you need for another 15,000. That is the fee you're going to pay. Then the listing fee. So add up all the expenses in a nutshell, you can see that lead market will spend about 1 to 2 million ringgit Malaysia. Then for Ace market is 3 million to 4 million. And main market is easily more than 5 million. But of course, for foreign company doing IPO in Malaysia, that will be more expensive because of the legal counsel and also probably the auditors also. Because I think the different entity, let's say you Indonesian company want to list in Malaysia, then Malaysia you had to engage Malaysian legal counsel. Then of course in Indonesia also you had to engage a legal counsel. So the fee table here is basically for local listing. So this is the fee range that happen in Malaysian market. So that is the range for most of the IPO in Malaysia. Okay, so but just like for foreign listing, they will be more expensive because of the foreign legal counsel required. Okay, so next is on which party will involve in the whole IPO process. We call it due diligence working group. Of course, you need advisor and sponsor, which is the investment banker. Then the next one, legal advisor, auditors, and a reporting accountant, and then valuer if required, independent market researcher, that you need this party to help you to write the company positioning in this industry, and also how the outlook for the company. Then, of course, number 7, you need a company secretary to do the minutes, to do the resolution, to do the filing to the authority. Then, of course, you have a book running agent. Not necessarily you need it unless you are doing a global offering, then probably you need it. Then placement agent, also not necessary if there is already an investor in place. Then underwriter, of course, you need to have an underwriter, because I think if you cannot sell out all the IPO shares, then the underwriter will come to help out on full subscription. Because I think the Malaysia requirement is, let's say you place out 100 million of shares and you cannot get the sufficient investor to subscribe the 100 million, then you cannot go for listing. So that's why the underwriter will come in to play a role. They underwrite all the shares to make sure you are qualified for IPO. Then, of course, you need issuing house to manage your shares application, to manage the share register. Okay, so that is the party for an IPO in Malaysia. So this is the 2023 IPO. As you can see in the last 2 columns, I have highlighted the red color. Basically, you can see that the performance, the 32 IPO, you can see that some will doing very well. Their day one is already hit 200%. Certain company not so well is maybe they're overpriced. You can see that some is minus 5%, minus 23%, minus 18.6%, and some relatively, I think, is the performance for last year is not bad compared to the year before. So that's why it make the IPO market is quite hot right now, and almost all the investment banker in the town is full. So previously we always ask the job from investment banker, but now we had to back them. To take on the case. Otherwise, the company got no principal advisor to help them to do the submission. So because it's too hot, so that's why this year I would not surprise if the number of IPO will hit close to 50, because I think it's a lot in the pipeline. So that summarized the 2023 performance, which is, I think, is quite encouraging if any company want to go for listing. Okay, I put down in a nutshell, the success for an IPO in Malaysia is not difficult. Basically, it's not difficult. So basically, you just need to take care of these three areas. First, sustainability is always look at whether the company can be sustained or not. So how they assess is they will look at your industry, whether this is a sunset or sunrise industry. Then they will look at whether you have the factor of sustainability. For example, certain company is rely on contract. So what they need to do is they need to illustrate, I have the sufficient order book. So they have secure enough of the contract. For example, construction. So towards the submission, the authority will expect to see your order book. Then they will see whether you qualify in the pillar of the sustainability, because sustainability is very important. Then, of course, that's what we mentioned about your sufficient working capital. That also will spell out whether your business is sustainable or not, because they don't want, the moment they approve for the IPO, then the company go bust. This is something they don't like. So that's why it's always talk about sustainability. So if your company is good in terms of profit and the sustainability factor is all there, then you most likely will get through this pillar. Second pillar is corporate governance. Always talk about compliance. So the compliance talk about the company, whether your factory building or your factory got all the necessary certificate of fitness to ensure all the compliance there. But the compliance not only on the business, they also go back to the shareholders and directors also. If you are promoters, you also need to illustrate good corporate governance. For example, whether you have do the necessary filing for all your company owned by you, even though it's not part of the IPO group, your personal company, whether have you do the necessary filing to the relevant authority, especially when the tax filing. Because if you always fail to do the tax filing, always don't pay tax on time, then corporate governance issue will come in. And those director or promoter, if let's say they have a court case, they get sued by people, then probably that also will give you a negative mark for the corporate governance. So that's why to ensure the success of IPO, all these few factors, it must be tackled upfront. It's not difficult. It really, you ask me from the experience, it's not difficult to be listed in Malaysia. And the last one is conflict of interest. Basically, the test is for those key management and also directors, shareholders, or the list of company under their name in the past 5 years. All this you need to be go through. That means whether you have any transaction with the company that going for listing, whether any conflicting. For example, okay, maybe you are taking this company A to go for listing. So this company A is doing construction. But at the same time, this same shareholder, they also have another company outside the group also doing construction. So this is a part authority will ask you how to mitigate the conflict. Because the moment they approve you for IPO, you go for listed, they cannot stop you already. So that's why they will ask you a question. In future, let's say you are listed. So if you have a good contract, will you put in the listco or you put in your private company? So that is the area that authority will try to make sure for those companies that they approve for IPO, the conflict interest issue are clear. That means because you need to disclose for the past 5 years which company involved. That's why before the IPO, before we talk about the kickstart of the IPO process, we need to do a housekeeping first. We need to clean off all these conflicted company. So let's say the way is very easy. You just need to dispose of the company that is with conflict of business or strike off the company. So that is to facilitate the approval. Otherwise, if you still maintain the conflict business, the IPO would not be approved. That is in a nutshell. If you can address these three requirement, the three broad requirement, in addition to just now we talk about the quantitative and qualitative. Basically, to list in Malaysia is not difficult. And listing in Malaysia, one thing good is the subsequent maintenance is not expensive. I probably you can say that Malaysian audit fee, Malaysian tax fee, Malaysian secretary fee can consider is among the lowest in the Southeast Asia. So that's why that give you advantage after you listed. Then your subsequent maintenance will be expensive. We know that, let's say you go to list in Hong Kong, you list in Nasdaq, the subsequent maintenance will be very expensive. And one thing good is after you listed, then those subsequent fundraising, corporate exercise, I think that the fee is quite reasonable. So that is the advantage to list in Malaysia. Okay, I think basically that's covered for today's topic. Come to the last slide, this slide. So the three areas you need to take care. Of course, if you need any consultation, of course, always welcome. I think we can set up a call with you to go through with you to see whether your company is suitable to go for listing or not in Malaysia. Okay, any question from the floor?
Thank you, Steve. Your presentation is quite comprehensive from the overview of the economic in Malaysia and requirements and also the trends in Malaysia capital market, and also spill the answer of, actually I have a question,
okay,
but you already answered it.
Okay.
About the cost of
IPO.
public listed.
Yeah.
Once it's become a public listed company.
Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned that it's among the lowest in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Can you give a approximate in numbers?
Okay. If you talk about lead market, probably 1 year you will spend about ringgit Malaysia about 200,000 to maintain the list score. Ringgit Malaysia about 200,000. Then for ACE market probably 500,000 just to maintain the list score. Because I think that maintenance is basically cover the listing fee that you pay to the authorities of stock exchange, then audit fee, your company secretary, your internal control audit fee. So that's in total is about that fee. But of course, that is a ballpark figures, and it will be go case by case on negotiate basis. If you are good in negotiation, probably you can get cheaper. Yeah.
That's nice.
But I saw a question from Maggie.
Maggie, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of qualification for CPA firm to do audit, basically you need to register with Security Commission of Malaysia. There is one department just to regulate those auditors that doing an audit for the listed company. I know, let's say for in US, you need to register with PCAOB. But in Malaysia, you need to register with Security Commission. There is one department called AOB, Audit Oversight Board. You just need to register with them, then you can do the audit for the listed company.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Okay, thanks. Am I address your answer? Your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Following up. Yeah, following up Maggie question. Does that apply for the foreign entity
Yes.
listing,
Yes.
or
Yes.
the foreign entity listed also can be audited by a Malaysian auditor like yourself?
Yes. Both way. For foreign listed entity, you can either audit by a Malaysian firm, or you can audit by foreign firm, as long as the foreign audit firm registered with the Security Commission. Feel free to ask questions.
Interesting, Steve, about
yeah.
the project infrastructure.
Mm.
I think this is the last question. If nothing is raised question here,
Yeah.
what is the current trend of the project infrastructure in Malaysia capital market?
I believe right now Malaysia, because I think our infrastructure company, those already listed is quite many years ago, because I think infrastructure company listed in Malaysia, because I think Malaysia is for the past 10 years, there's not so much of the infrastructure project, mega infrastructure project. So not really have a big IPO in terms of infrastructure for the past 10 years. So, but of course, we always welcome if any foreign company with the mega project, mega infrastructure, if you want to list in Malaysia, always welcome.
Any other
quite
questions?
a small group. I could have said my comment, but thank you, Steve, so much. That was a really, really clear presentation. I'm gonna talk about that all day. Every time I have a presentation, it's the topic of my conversations with every prospect and person I meet. So that's really good. And I will have questions, so I'll get back to you on that. And also, I'll be meeting with the TGS audit interest group. I think in a couple of weeks, so that's super interesting for them as well. So I'll share the link to the YouTube recording and also a summary of that meeting. Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay, thank you.
Don't worry, I think if you have any question, always you can reach out by way of email, and I always welcome to answer any of your question. If let's say you have interest to explore Malaysia capital market, always welcome. We are here to assist you.
Thank you for all participants. See you again.
Yep. Thank you.
In the next event from TGS Asia Pacific. Thank you.